Industry 45 with Rob, or it could be Robert Laidlaw.
Only my dad called me Robert.
Yeah.
Please
I
don't.
post everything, Robert. Shane Christopher Neal here. Thanks for joining me. This is awesome because you and I have talked many times.
Yes.
At many events and on many platforms, and it's awesome that you made the trek all the way down into the country to do Giant TV. So I want to ask you this, just to set this up. You played with so many great artists: Lee Aaron, Kim Mitchell, Loverboy, Platinum Blonde, Honeymoon Suite, the Guess Who last year, right? Jimmy Jameson. So we're going to get into some of that, but I want to talk about how you got kind of started as a bass player and as a songwriter, because you have some great talent.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Shane.
Okay, the interview's over. Thanks for watching.
And scene. As do you, incidentally. I mean, I was just telling my friend Karen that you have risen in the last couple of years, and it's determination, right? And sticking to it. At the end of the day, I mean, I started as a kid, learned how to play the guitar.
Because every bass player starts with a guitar, don't they? I think.
Ultimately, yeah. We start with a...
Can't play 5, so you go down to 4.
That's right. And I fell into playing bass because I was in a band when I was 17, and the guitar player who we were just writing songs, me, the singer, and the guitar player, and we started putting out demos the traditional way, right? And the demos started getting major interest from management companies, and they said, well, we want to see the band live. And it wasn't really a live band at that point. And so the guitar, it was literally two guitar players and a singer. And I had been playing bass on the demos just because it was easy to do, and we weren't spending a lot of time thinking about it. And yeah, that's how I fell into playing bass. Now, when I started playing bass and going out and doing gigs, I really played bass like a guitar player, so very busy and not
rhythmic.
No, and not concerning myself so much with the groove. But then we started doing a few shows, and we started again gaining momentum and doing a few shows where we were opening for bigger bands, and I remember being noticed. And then at that point, I actually said, "Okay, I'm actually gonna."
I'm better than these guys, so I'm
yeah, and I better bear down and study it a bit. And so I started studying it a bit. I took some lessons, and the way I took lessons on bass was I would go look around town who were the good bass players in Toronto. I grew up in downtown Toronto, and I'd approach them and I'd just say, "Look, would you be down with me taking a lesson?" And invariably they always said, "Yep." So I'd learn. Back in the day, I'd take a cassette player and I'd record the lesson for however long it would be, an hour or whatever, and I would study what I learned from these guys. So it was probably about half a dozen really good bass players that I ended up studying from and learning from.
Any known bass players that would be from like popular bands that people would know, or?
Well, there was one fellow named Tom Lewis who's
Tom Lewis.
You know Tommy?
Yes.
Yeah, he was one of them. A guy named Matt Gerard, who hasn't been in Canada. He was remember a band called Regatta back in the day?
Absolutely.
And he was in a band called Regatta at the time, but he was also in a band called Von Groove.
Loved Von Groove.
Yeah.
Once is not enough. See, that's testing. There you go.
You are a true fan because they did.
I used to send that to girls, by the way. The video of Once is not enough, because it's obviously about
Yeah, right. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, Matthew was an outstanding bass player, and so yeah, I gradually, over the course of about a year and a half, became a better player, and then I actually had an opportunity to play with a guy that had a record deal. And I played on his record.
And that was?
a guy named Johnny Loveson, who incidentally just passed away, and I'm going to his memorial on the 28th of April at the Horseshoe.
Oh, wow.
And all kinds of, like, Jack DeKaiser, the Blue Rodeo guys, they were all pals, right? Jim Cuddy and all those guys. So they're all going to be there, and we're all celebrating his life. But that was literally my very first, and as a matter of fact, Shane, I'm going to send you a link. I was 19 when I played.
Well, you send me the
band.
link, and we're going to put it on this podcast at the bottom too. Maybe people
Okay,
can
I'll do
check
that,
it out.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I had quite the hair at the time. I always maintained.
Me not so much.
I know. Thank God. I've been follically gifted, right?
So your first, we're talking about your first big break, but we'll say it was still a break. You started playing with Lee Aaron.
Correct.
Which I know her name is Karen because every time we talk and I say Lee, you call her Karen, which is her actual name. How old were you when you played with Lee Aaron?
23.
And how did you just, I mean,
24.
she's from Toronto, so the connection of just the music scene, or
No,
what happened?
I was in a band called Winter Rose.
Okay.
And we were opening for Karen at the Forum in Toronto, or on the island, right? Or no, Ontario Place.
Ontario Place, yeah.
Revolving stage thing. And that band was, we had high hopes for that band. The first lead singer was Sebastian, and then he got the Skid Row call. And then the second singer we had was James Labrie.
So you played with, really?
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah. Well, and the guitar player was Rich Chicky, who has...
Yes, okay.
And the drummer was Randy Cook, who he and I came up together, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Randy in a bit.
Yeah. But anyway, we were opening for Karen, and it was after the show in the dressing room. John, actually, Albany, who was Karen's partner, right?
And he wrote a lot of songs for her and was her...
producer.
And, all that,
like right from Metal Queen on, right? And he literally... very simply said, Rob, we're thinking of making a bass change in the band, and Karen and I really like you. Would you consider? And I just had a new baby and was just newly married.
You thought perfect timing.
It was perfect timing, right? I just moved into a house down on Leslie Street, and they were offering, I can't even remember what it was. It was good money at the time. I think it was.
So what's good money at the time?
At the time, it was $1,500 a week.
So just salaried kind of, whether you play 2 gigs or 4. Doesn't matter?
No, that was based on a 4-gig week.
4-gig week, okay.
And if you played 2 or 3 gigs, it would be prorated. But
Okay, got you.
Like if you were on the road, right, kind of thing. And then, so that was on her biggest record, right, Body Rock.
So this was after Body Rock. You joined.
This was on the Body Rock tour. I joined on the Body Rock tour.
When did that come out? 89?
89 or 90, maybe 89, I think. But they toured that for 2 years because that record sold 250,000.
Lee Aaron was also on this show, just so you know.
Nice.
See, there you go. Popular company.
Yeah, worked well and well. Yeah.
So you worked with her for how long?
So I worked with her for so after the Body Rock record. By
the way, I want to stop you. I saw that tour, Crystal Beach. It was the Body Rock tour. I thought, and was Randy? No, who's playing drums for
Kimio?
Her? Right, but I thought, were you there? Like Crystal Beach?
Yeah.
Inside there, I remember because my dad worked for Labatt's, and Labatt's presented the whole event, and I ate. This is now about me. I ate spaghetti and meatballs in Lee Aaron's trailer, and I spilled like meatballs on me, and she cleaned it up. It was an awesome experience when I was like,
wow,
yeah. So I have stories too, but go ahead. So carry on.
We all have a story.
It's more about you now.
Anyway, so at the end of the Body Rock tour, Karen and John just said, would you be interested in doing the next record? Because that's the way, I mean, it still is the way, kind of. I mean, it's a little different now because touring is such a large component of
making money.
The revenue, right?
Yeah.
Records, not so much, right?
What was the other album called? Not Hands On. It was
called, what was it called?
It slipped my mind now what it was called. See, we're
Some
both
Girls
lost.
Do.
Some Girls Do. Yeah. Is that the name of the album, or I know it's a single?
Yeah, that was the first.
We
single.
both suck at knowing Lee Aaron stuff.
No, Sex with Love. That was one of the songs.
I think that was a song too. So you did that the next record, though?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that was great because that was 6 weeks, and the pay for that was exceptional. So I mean, again, at the time, I was young, had a young family. I thought this is going to be, wow, this is great. But I did definitely take away from the concept of pursuing the songwriting thing, which I'd always, when I was 15, I was, I started writing songs, right? And songwriting, as you well know, is really, and you just had a great songwriter on here last week, right? Derry from Honeymoon
Suite, right?
I mean, Derry wrote that song, which is still their signature song. It's funny how the dude that introduced them that night said, their signature song, New Girl Now or whatever. He wrote that when he was 19 in Fanshawe at college, right? I mean, I remember seeing, and that has been the defining song of their career.
Absolutely.
Right? So it sort of changed trajectory and started my goal was to make money in the music industry. And
Writing music.
No, playing, because I had opportunity.
Okay,
right?
got you. Yeah.
So from Karen's opportunity, which was a year and a half, I was on the road and literally got a phone call from a very good friend of mine who was doing merch for the Lee Aaron tour, and said, Rob, Kim Mitchell's auditioning bass players.
I knew we were going there.
For the first time
right.
in his whole career, because he'd had Peter basically.
As forever.
Yeah. And Peter was going off on the road with Tom Cochran on the Mad Mad World, right? The Life is a Highway thing.
Yeah. And
so I literally came from the airport, when I was on the road, I called Kim's management, and they said, yeah, pick, they sent me a list of songs to choose 10 songs, and choose 3 of them to learn to go audition. But was it ever a cattle call audition? There was probably about 28 bass players all in a row.
So we're going to get to that in a sec. Industry 45, Rob Laidlaw. Don't call him Robert unless you're his dad, because that's the only person who can call him Robert. Shane Christopher Neal will be back, and we're going to talk about Kim Mitchell.
All right.